I'm Acting Assistant Dean for Students, Dan Swiner, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law's first ever virtual champagne toast. I'd like to start off just giving my congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. Congratulations. Now, I'd like to give the floor over to our very own Dean Megan Carpenter for opening remarks. Floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Dan. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to the class of 2020. Without saying that none of us exactly thought we were going to be here drinking on camera together today. I guess, or at least I never expected to be invited if you all were going to be drinking on camera together. This was a really convoluted way to get myself invited to a party. But the celebrations for our graduating classes always tend to stretch out in fine fashion, including a week-long celebration from the toast to graduation. But stretching it out over a period of 5 months, certainly our class of 2020 is going to hold the record for all time. I can't wait until we together are making the procession over from the school across to White Park. You know, in all the good stories in every genre before the triumph, there's always some kind of tribulation. This is true in the law movies that you guys have scheduled to watch on the weekends together, whether it was Gideon's Trumpet or My Cousin Vinny. It's true for action movies or romantic comedies. There are always adventures to follow and obstacles to overcome, and humor sometimes even found in unlikely places, little pieces of unexpected grace. An alum told me last year of his moving to take the bar exam after graduation. And I don't quite remember all of the details, but he didn't have a place to live yet. His job had fallen through. And then he was in a car accident on the way to take the bar, but he didn't want to go to the hospital because he really needed to take that exam so that he could work. So he sort of like left his car wherever it was and got a ride to the convention center and was taking glass out of his arm while he was taking the exam. I might be getting some of these details wrong, but what I do, besides the glass, is the point of his story, why he was sharing it with me particularly, which was that he felt like the grit that he needed to muster to persevere on that day was uniquely developed through his years at the law school, through the mentors that he had, the peers and colleagues that he studied with, and that all that has been critical more than anything else in his successful several decades in practice. And that he sees that quality in the eyes of graduates from UNH Franklin Pierce over the decades as he's interviewed them for jobs, and that's what the kind of person he wants to hire, and that's what makes a good lawyer. To be a good lawyer, you have to be flexible. You have to have conviction and passion, high expectations for yourself and for others. You have to be able to handle pressure with grace and recognize that advocacy takes different forms at different times, and to be able to adapt to your client's needs. To be a great lawyer requires kindness and empathy too. You also have to recognize that you're not infallible, and to not be afraid to ask for help when you need it. This has been a time so unprecedented that we're all really sick of hearing the word unprecedented. And it's a time when we realize yet again, as we have throughout the 250 odd years of this amazing country, that our system depends on lawyers. When there is chaos, when there are vulnerable populations, lawyers are essential for the grand challenges that we face. Throughout history, if we've been debating slavery or women's rights or religious liberty or health law and policy, how we define private rights and public needs, develop vital technologies. The big discussions, those arguments have been really focused on who we are as a people and the society we want to live in. And lawyers are necessary to help find solutions. there are people out there who need you. You don't know them yet, but they exist right now. There are people who are walking around across this country who are waiting for you. And I have no doubt that there are skills that you all have developed during this time that are going to serve you well throughout your career and that have and will prepare you for that task. Stuff you might not realize until many decades later. Okay, it's definitely not the ramp up we had all hoped and wanted for you, but it's there, and I see it in your eyes, and I hear it in your emails and in your voices. Being a lawyer is an awesome responsibility. But I know, we all know, everyone on the screen in these little squares and everybody watching all across the country, that you are ready for it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Megan. It's my honor to present two surprise guests today. We're joined by two New Hampshire Supreme Court justices. I introduce New Hampshire Supreme Court Justice Anna Barbara Hance-Marconi and Patrick E. Donovan. If you would like to give some remarks, we would be honored. Thank you.
Thank you. We're pleased to be invited. I hope the dean wasn't calling us all little squares, but I've been called worse before. Hello, grass. I have a special sign I put together. I don't know if you can see it. I had to sort of add the law and the 3 L's so that it pertained to you, but I couldn't find a UNH t-shirt, which my husband suggested I wear since I graduated from UNH, not law, the lesser UNH, but I have my sign instead. We are so proud of you and your achievements, and we can't wait to see what you will do in the future. On that note, we know it's been a difficult end to your law school experience. We are working hard to get you back on track, but know that this will not be the last challenge or disappointment you will face. By approaching these challenges with grace and ingenuity, you will survive. You will have a story to tell. My grandmother was married during the pandemic of 1918. No wedding, no reception, no friends, just a small ceremony in her home. And she had that story to take with her. By approaching these challenges in this way, you will be better lawyers. When a case goes south, when a deal falls apart, or an application gets rejected, your clients will look to you for wise counsel and strength. So consider this just a little practice for getting to be the lawyers that you're going to be. And congratulations. And I raise my grandmother's champagne glass, filled with San Pellegrino, of course, very politically correct, in your honor. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Your Honor, for that honor. My name's Patrick Donovan. I'm the newest and youngest member of our Supreme Court, so unlike most of my colleagues, I remember what it's like to graduate and then have to prepare to take the bar exam. I don't think Justice Hicks was, when he took the bar exam, I don't believe I was on this earth. But that being said, we're doing everything that we can in our power to ensure that those of you who want to take the New Hampshire bar will be able to do so in the fall, and plenty of time for you to begin your law practice and that you can take that exam in a safe manner. So I wish you luck, and I congratulate you on your graduation. Take this time this summer to prepare for that exam the best that you can for those of you that have to take it. And I know not all of you do. I just want to say we're looking forward to having you in our bar. And if you do practice in New Hampshire, you will find that it's a special place to practice. I practiced for almost 30 years in New Hampshire. And the bar is filled with friends that I grew to love over the course of my career. And I think you will have the same experience. So I'm going to raise my glass of soda water and toast all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Justice Hance-Marconi. Thank you, Justice Donovan. We appreciate having you here today. The graduating class of 2020 has voted on a faculty speaker, a grad speaker, and a JD speaker that were to be speaking at our commencement event scheduled for this date. They will still have the opportunity to take the stage in October during our rescheduled commencement, but we wanted to provide them the opportunity to share their remarks. With that, I'd like to turn to Professor Ryan Vaca, the student elected faculty speaker for today.
Hi, everyone. So a little over 2 months ago, I received an email from your classmates inviting me to be the faculty speaker at the 2020 commencement. And I was touched, honored to be the one to deliver some remarks to all of you on this exciting day. But as I continued reading the email, it said that you all were hoping to enjoy the humor that I'd shown in your classes in this address. And as I read this, I started to worry because one, well, honestly, that's a lot of pressure. And two, delivering funny comments when the entire audience is muted is like delivering the most anticlimactic punchline ever. And I imagine Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Steve Martin doing stand-up at the where at the end of their jokes, the audience just smiles and nods and continues checking their social media. But then I said, wait a minute, that's exactly what it's been like. Telling jokes in class. I can do this, no problem. So let's do it. So I want you to think back to your first day of class. And so for those of you in the JD class, this was contract law with me, 10:30 in the morning. But for all of you, there was a lot of uncertainty on that first day and in that first class. What would your future hold? You didn't know what was coming next in your journey. And you were asking questions like, am I going to like my classes? Am I going to do well? Am I going to fail out? Why are the rooms in this building not numbered sequentially? What is the point of this case? Are all the professors going to be as handsome and fun as my contracts professor? But you did it. All of you have completed the journey. You've worked hard. You've read thousands and thousands of pages of dense material. And that was just in constitutional law. You've faced your fears of public speaking. You've helped real clients with real legal issues. You've successfully drafted documents that you didn't even know were a real thing before you arrived on campus. You've managed to take ordinary, everyday occurrences that no normal person thinks about and wonder whether there's a cause of action somewhere there. You figured out where most of the rooms are in the law school building. So how did you do all this? How did you make it through? What's the common core? Well, it's perseverance. You kept pushing through when times were tough, when exams and papers were stressing you out, when you struggled to answer questions in class, when your client or your professor or your employer asked you to do something that you had never done before. You kept trying, and eventually you succeeded. And so now we're here, graduation day. And on this day, you're getting ready to take the next step into your future. And like that first day of class, where you had a lot of uncertainty and didn't know what was coming next, you may currently have similar feelings and anxiety. How will the bar exam work? Will I pass it? Will I get a job? Will I like my job? Am I going to commit malpractice? What type of work am I going to end up doing? Am I going to be successful? I don't have answers to your questions, but I believe that the tool to finding these answers is the same tool that you successfully used over the last year or 3 years. Perseverance. You'll try, you'll stumble many times, you'll even fail on occasion. But you'll succeed over and over again as long as you persevere. And so with that, I congratulate you, the class of 2020, for your tremendous accomplishments. I look forward to seeing you all again in October and throughout your future distinguished careers.
Thank you, Professor Vaca. We're now going to turn to the elected LLM graduate student speaker. Vinicius, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vinicius Damasceno. I'm a Brazilian attorney, and I'm completing my LLM in Commerce and Technology here at the University of New Hampshire School of Law. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone at UNH for this opportunity, not only to speak here, but for everyone that worked hard to make sure that we could enjoy our time in the best way possible. Also, I would like to thank all of our families, friends, and loved ones, everyone that helped us during our best and worst days. We are only here because of you. Coming from a different country and living with people with such diverse backgrounds and cultures can be challenging. But UNH made a lot easier because of the people that we could live here. Sometimes I think about the difference that exists between here and my home country, and I think it is interesting to see how our backgrounds and our personal experiences can change so much on how we see the world. The world's a big place, and even if you decide to explore as much as you can, you'll probably not be able to understand not even 1% of how other people see it. We know the world through the experiences that we live, through the culture that we know, through the influences that we have, and this vision can be very narrow sometimes. We tend to connect more with people who are more similar to us because this keeps us in a zone of comfort. And although there's nothing wrong with this, it does contribute to limit our vision and not to see the big picture. This opportunity here allowed me to understand how important it is to share the experiences and to understand the different realities that exist. The best way to explore the world is to talk to people, to share experiences, to learn from other cultures, to connect with others. As lawyers, our job most of the time will depend on how well we can identify problems and find the best solutions to them. By sharing and learning more from others, we are allowing each other to understand better the different realities that surround us, which can make a big difference in our personal and professional lives. The world's a big place, and it's up to us to decide whether we ignore those different realities or if we want to learn from them and grow. And if this experience helped me, taught me something besides legal knowledge, of course, is that I will always choose to connect and learn from others. And I hope that from now on, you will too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Vinicius, and congratulations. We now turn to our next elected speaker, the representative for the JD class of 2020. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, it is wonderful to see all of your beautiful and beaming faces. Yeah, that's right. I see the boys in Perry there. Billy, that stash is on fire. I love it. I'm not sure who's all in attendance here today. So for those of you who don't know me or don't remember me, my name is Nick Bortz. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. And most importantly, a member of the UNH Franklin Pierce class of 2020. Quick note, I have, as most of you have probably noticed, fully embraced my new quarantine attributes, ranging from my paler than normal, almost translucent skin, to my outrageous hairdo and mustache, although not quite as outrageous as Billy's, and just my overall unkempt appearance. So I would encourage all of you to embrace your similar attributes during this time, and at least, if nothing else, embrace mine for the next 90 seconds or so. Thank you. Now, I'm going to keep this short. Don't have a lot of time, and I got to save some material for October, but I do want to say a few things, and I'm going to start with this. Congratulations, everyone. We made it, all right? Woo! Give yourself, a little fist pump, little pat on the back, little golf clap, whatever it is, because we graduated law school, and that does sound pretty good to say out loud. It has been a long road. These last 3 years have undoubtedly been some of the most stressful and strenuous of our lives. In these last few months, maybe the toughest of all. Really, we've been put to the test in so many different ways. But as I look back on it all, and I think about the time I've spent here at UNH Franklin Pierce, I can say without hesitation that there is no place else that I would have rather spent these last 3 years. This school has taught me so much, not just about the law, but about myself, about who I am as a person, about life in general. And it's given me, and I know all my classmates, such a good outlook on the future. So thank you for that. It's been a truly unbelievable experience. But it's not just that. It's more than that, really. Because as much as I've loved my time here at UNH, it, without a doubt, would not have been the same if not for the amazing group of people that are with me here today, the people I have the privilege of calling my classmates. So, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this brief. So suffice it to say, for now at least, that I have never been so proud to be a part of a group of people as I am to be a part of this UNH Franklin Pierce class of 2020. All right, you guys are the best. So on that note, and I know we're doing a big group toast at the end, but I have a personal toast to all of you, all right? And it's genuine and it's sentimental, but it's also just another excuse for this Wisconsinite to have a drink, okay? So if you want to join me, by all means do, but I want to say thank you to all my classmates. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this amazing group of people. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this celebration today. I am truly honored and humbled, but simultaneously a little confused and concerned. Your judgment is a little iffy, maybe. You voted for me to be here, so we can talk about that more later. But it's been great getting to know all of you guys and just being able to become your friends. So here's to you, my classmates, UNH Franklin Pierce, class of 2020. We did it. Congratulations, everybody. Cheers. I wish we could be doing this in person, but soon enough.
Thanks, Nick. Congratulations to you. I'm now going to turn the floor back over to Dean Carpenter, who has one more guest that we'd like to introduce before our final toast.
Thanks so much, Dan. We have another surprise guest who's joined us today. Dahlia Lithwick is going to be our commencement speaker in October, and she has graciously agreed to pop in and say a special congratulations to the class of 2020. Ms. Lithwick is senior editor at Slate and has been called by the Sidney Hillman Foundation as the nation's best legal commentator for 2 decades. I have long admired her work, and I'm so excited to have her join us now and again in October.
So thank you to Dean Carpenter, honored justices, Professor Vaca, and student speakers. Thank you so much for including me today. This is in fact not Perrier. I'm going to day drink with you, but I desperately wish that I could have been there in person. And I'm also so looking forward to doing this in person this fall. I had been sort of perfecting my impressions of all 9 Supreme Court justices, and we'll keep it for them because it's now going to have to include the flushing noise of a toilet. So listen, you guys, I've been thinking a lot about you all and how destabilizing it must be to be sort of entering into your legal careers under these deeply, profoundly weird circumstances. And I frankly, I remember when I graduated law school and nothing was going on out in the world, and nevertheless, the combined stressors of the bar and clerkships and what job I was going to do, I was out of my mind. And so I trying to imagine doing all of that while under COVID lockdown. But I wanted to just give you one thought that has occurred to me as I've tried to reflect on what I could say to you, and that is, so much of the law is so backward focused, right? We learn about Pulsgraph and the hairy hand and the falling clocks, and it's a world that we don't recognize here in 2020. And we try to sort of mash ourselves into the world of the framers and into the past, into constitutional values that are timeless, but maybe not necessarily our priorities. And I think it's not an accident that you all are graduating at a moment when not just sort of the world around us, but constitutional democracy itself, I think, is changing, and changing so profoundly that we don't know what it's changing to. And even pre-COVID, I can assure you, the Supreme Court docket this year is full of really fundamental questions about how we will do democracy. And that's questions about how we vote and how we're going to think about immigration, questions of how we're going to protect rights of communities that were not thought of as vulnerable to the framers. And I think I want to assure you that even pre-COVID, the world of constitutional law was shape-shifting around us. And now it is doing that double time. And So even though the way we practice law is about to change, the way we incarcerate is about to change, the way we protect speech is changing under our noses, how we learn law is going to change, how we teach law is going to change, what you all do with your careers might be unrecognizable from what you thought it was going to be. Even, believe it or not, the Supreme Court justices on the US Supreme Court have learned to use the telephone this week. And I think that that really signals to you that we're leaping ahead into a future that is still unknown. And we are in fact on a bridge, I think, to build new constitutional democracy. And we don't know what's at the end of the bridge. I don't think anyone knows what's at the end of the bridge. But this is what I want to leave you with, graduates and your families, and I see the occasional puppy and little person. I want to leave you with the promise that you are, in fact, your generation are the engineers of this new constitutional democracy. You are the architects, you are the builders, you are a generation of new framers who are going to have to think about the world in fundamentally different ways from the way we thought about it in our backward-looking law school education. And I want to urge you to lash yourself to the foundational principles that you have learned about democracy, about equality, about dignity, as Dean Carpenter said, about empathy and respect. But I want you also to realize that you are building something new that is going to be better than what we had before. You are the new authors, framers, architects of the law, and I am in awe of all that you have done to get this far and what you're going to do. I raise my very real glass of white wine to the Franklin Pierce graduates, to your families, your friends, and to all the honored guests here. I look forward to seeing you under much better circumstances in the fall. Thank you for including me.
Thank you so much, Delia. We can't wait to have you in person. We can all day drink then too. It'll be fine. You know, at our alumni reunions, sometimes different classes get into a little lighthearted competition with one another. You know, they'll say, look, when I was in school, we had to memorize this impossible thing, or we had to trek, 5 miles through the snow uphill both ways, which I always thought was kind of, more of a metaphor until moving to New Hampshire. But I would like to right now raise a glass to our class of 2020 who win every single one of these lighthearted competitions for the rest of time. I also want to raise a glass to all of you out there who love them and who have supported them through their 3 years here or their 1 year here and through the last couple of months, who've laughed and cried and listened and had their backs. And that includes a lot of you on this call today. To parents and spouses, and friends, children, lots of professors, members of the UNH Franklin Pierce family, and to the class of 2020. Congratulations. This is a wonderful day to celebrate you. I love seeing every single one of you on this screen today and can't wait to celebrate you properly in October. Congratulations. Now let's all unmute and give a big round of applause to all the classmates. Can we do that?
Let's go, boards!